Welcome, everyone, to the Paladins Premier League. It is time for week number 4. Of course, kicking it off with some EU action. My name is LaTigress, here with Gormizer. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm excited for this week, specifically for today, because we get to see someone new come into the scene, and I kind of want to see how they perform, because I feel like Diggy Dog's kind of having to fill big shoes now, since Simsaloo has been doing so well these last few weeks.
Diggy Dog, he's on the roster officially. And like you said, Simsaloo is putting in some work for the team and now making that transition. We'll have to see how it all fares. But remember, we are all working towards HRX, which is in tandem with DreamHack this year, November 16th through 18th. Buy your tickets at highresexpo.com. PWC, Console Wars, Smite content, lots happening there.
And a lot leading up to it. Of course, I know we're having our LAN about a month from now, actually. It is going to be a month from today. So there's a lot going on. I think there are a couple teams that still can, or that are looking to qualify this week. I think G2 and Fnatic need one more win to earn themselves there. But the PGS teams, the PCS teams, all looking to come in.
And it's so crazy because I feel like Fall Split will go so quickly because
this
of the
gone
fact
quickly.
that
We're in week 4.
I know, it's crazy. We're getting all the rematches that are happening at this point, and we're over halfway through. All the teams that are in the middle, that's where the pressure is on. Like for Fnatic and G2, they're one win away from securing their spot at the LAN, right? The other teams, not only do they have to maybe hope that doesn't happen for 2 weeks straight for the top 2 undefeated teams, or also make sure they're kicking it into gear. And NIP is one of those teams that has to worry about that.
Yeah, we live in a world where, honestly, Na'Vi and Envy aren't guaranteed for their LAN. Like they're kind of shaky. We might see Renegades, we might see, NIP if they can find some good, like really key wins. Today I think is a really big day for NIP, not only being able to look for 2 wins on top of that, but kind of solidifying themselves, I want to say, in the way things have been going.
First, they're facing off against Mousesports, and Mousesports and Virtus.pro are currently in the bottom part of the standings, actually. But Mousesports, they've had their shining moments. Andrew Doodle, in particular, has been great with his blaster play.
Yeah, and just being able to flex around, I think we've seen a lot of blasters pretty much skyrocket to the top tier. When you have someone who can play it really well, I think that's the difference maker. We saw kind of Invocal being able to pick up the Jogos, but Andrew Doodle being able to play a lot of these various maps has been key for Mouse's success.
Having the Eevee that they can bring on in, having Drogos, the Bomb King, that's been such a talk of the town, and especially when you know that Diggy Dog is coming in on the opposite side.
Yeah.
How do you think that particular one-on-one will face off?
I feel like it puts a little bit of stress onto Andrew Doodle to perform well. It's just one of those areas where you have to come into it and you're thinking, well, he's in his first PPL game. Maybe he's gonna have some jitters or something. Maybe like if it ended up in like a 1v1, I'd be able to take this in a vacuum as Andrew Doodle. But when it comes down to it and you start looking at it, you're like, well, there's the rest of NIP bringing this guy in. He's going to perform well, and he's going to have the room to perform well. You have to step it up.
So it's tough to say because with Diggy Dog, he's been on Kanga for so long, right? And it's a whole different thing when you're in OC as opposed to in the PPL, but he's obviously displayed quite prowess as a player. So do you expect this transition to be a bit more smooth for him, especially because they're starting off against Mouse and VP, or a bit rocky?
I think this is like the best way to step into it. It's one of those things when you look at it, you're coming in, you're like, okay, solid third place team. Even if, we lose a couple games here, maybe it's not the end of the world. We lose a couple maps, But you also have to come into it and think, is it better to start off with a couple wins and maybe get too comfortable? Or is it better to come in and just get wrecked and then be like, all right, well, I got my loss out of the way. Now I can just start performing. I don't have to, worry about that anymore.
And I think all of us in our predictions had said that we believe NIP will take this. But let's go ahead and hear how confident Bird is in his team going into this match.
All right, gang. Thanks so much. We're here with the longtime captain of NIP and longtime veteran of the scene, Mr. Bird. First of all, how you doing, bud? I haven't seen you in a minute.
I'm doing good. It's been a while since I guess we went to LAN, so we're looking to redeem ourselves a bit here and hopefully see you again soon.
And how is the team doing? Kind of because for a lot of you, all of you, this is your first time missing an event. How was the atmosphere? Are you guys more motivated than ever, or a little down on yourselves after that?
Yeah, definitely. I think I talked about it a bit before, but it was very much like we went back to fundamentals. Like once Lazy was replaced, then it was like we need to figure out proper go back to step one and figure out truly step by step, like this, we need to do this first, this is highest priority, then this, then this, then this. And we really tried to just, I guess, reform the whole team a bit, and everyone's super motivated now. So
Can you talk a little bit more about the decision replacing Lazy? Was a kind of a mutual parting there, or if you're not comfortable talking about it, just talk about how it has been sort of integrating DigiDog, or hell, hit us with both answers.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go too much into detail, I guess, about Lazy. But it was certainly on his end, but I think it was on a kind of mutual understanding. You're like, yeah, this maybe is the like he wanted to leave, and we were like, maybe that's better for kind of everyone. When a roster's been together for so long, when something goes wrong on the level that it did, then it's probably something pretty big that needs to be changed. You don't just fall through like that hard without something being actually quite wrong.
So where did the conversation even start with DigiDog? How did this even become a possibility that ended up becoming a reality for you guys?
I mean, I think for starters, it was literally like, day after Lazy said he wanted out, then we were like, okay, well, what are our options here? And while there are definitely options in EU. There are a lot of good, even in the PGS team, there are a lot of great players right now. But we were like, what is like step one? What is the best replacement we can get straight up role wise for Lazy, and then we can work from there. We can see if we need to find someone that can play blasters, or if we can maybe go with someone that can play more hit scan oriented champions. So we sat down and we said these are the best players that will like quite literally fill Lazy's shoes. And I mean, it's hard to look past Digidog in that situation. So we talked to NIP. We said, could this actually be a possibility? And we eventually, after a little bit of work, we got the green light on it.
Was he excited, surprised to kind of even get that call? Do you know his reactions to this?
I believe it was something along the lines of I told him like, would you be interested in this? And it was a how am I going to sleep tonight after that?
Oh man.
So he was definitely excited to come over, and he's been pretty keen ever since.
That's very exciting, and one way or another, Kanga's gonna find a way to get a land win, even if it has to be through DigiDog under the NIP banner. How has it been sort of filling in with Simsalou? Was that something that was known that was going to be temporary for him, or was he on that list of potential replacements for Lazy?
Yeah, it was. So we got the green. I mean, the PPL started like so soon after the lands that we weren't sure exactly what was going to happen, like how long this kind of process would take. So our solution was just we'll get Sims, we'll let him know, we'll let him in on everything, like what our plan is, what our eventual plan is, and we essentially just told him like, hey, just play with us until we can sort this out, basically. And fortunately, it got sorted out relatively quickly. Obviously, it could have taken a lot longer, but yeah, I mean, Sims was in on it, and he was aware of the plan, and we're very fortunate that Sims filled the role very well.
Yeah.
I don't think we could have asked for a better substitute in the situation. So honestly, it worked out great for everyone, I think.
Awesome. Well, thanks for giving us some insight into that situation, into the big first real import in the PPL. So I'm very excited to watch you guys now, and hopefully to see you again at LAN soon. Thank you so much, Bird.
Thank you.
I think in a lot of situations, when you go in with someone that you are declaring as a sub, you're kind of expecting to be a bit on the back foot. So he's right in saying it did actually go really well having Simi be able to stand in.
And I think it was like the right amount of time, right? Where it's like, okay, so Simsalou has now gotten to show off that he is still very relevant in terms of being able to play and his capabilities in the PPL. But now you're like, okay, we get the team we wanted to. So you're not going through the entire split with one person and then like, do we second guess this entire decision? No, we're going to stick with it and come through. So DigiDog being able to kind of make his premiere now, I'm really excited to see how he can fill those shoes.
Well, let's find out what map number 1 is going to be for this set. It's NIP versus Mousesports, and we're first heading off to Frozen Guard.
It's been a lot of ice maps I feel like I've seen today so far, and Frozen Guard not going to be able to change that theme, I guess, going in there first, but this one's going to be interesting because I think there's a lot of really good blasters for both Andrew Doodle and for DigiDog to pick up and potentially be game-changing.
Which is also interesting about Jaguar Falls being taken off of the table because, Bomb King loves to thrive there, and I think there's picks on both sides that could be very difficult to deal with.
I'm wondering if that's we know Bomb King is strong, we know Drogo's is strong, but we don't want to have to ban those, so let's just get rid of the map. And then we can deal with it somewhere else. I mean, Bomb King's still going to be relevant on this map, I would say. I'm kind of curious if either of these teams are going to kind of prioritize him, or if we're still going to be looking at some of the same staples we've seen, like Buck, Genos, etc.
Buck's the first lock-in, so early prioritization. And then on the opposite end, they're actually taking Leon first. So what do you think about the fact that usually she kind of goes in the middle part of the draft, not always right at the top?
I feel like it's just that control she brings in terms of healing very early on, especially when you're up against someone like a Buck. If Saris was locked in, similar story where it's just, I'm going to shut down your healing early, so it's a little bit easier to stop you from snowballing. You take away the Jinno so he doesn't get that damage augment, and you're pretty much, you grab two things to help handle the Buck pick.
And interesting, Torvald as well. We actually got to see a little Torvald earlier in the PGS, which was a qualifying final for the LAN, and it worked out in one of the games. And right now, how do you think that Mouse are really going to implement this?
I think this is a testing grounds for Mouse when it comes down to it. It's like, we know NIP is, a slight tier above us, so this is the time for us to try and figure out what can we do that will work not only against them but against VP, maybe Na'Vi. Torvald was forgotten about. He's still really strong. The things he did before are still there. It's just one of those, oh hey, they nerfed the talent everyone is using, therefore we won't use him anymore.
So crazy, Cassie going as low as she was.
Yeah, right.
Maldamba's going to round it out for Mouse, potentially add a bit more of that swiftness to champions like Terminus. But Leon at the top, Cassie down there kind of in the mid part, and it looks like potentially a Ying.
I want to protest it, but again, part of me is always excited to see a Ying because I like seeing people, Torvald, Willow, Vivian, bring in the champions that aren't usually seen, because see what they can bring that might be different. Or if you're NIP, bring something that you have used in the past.
Well, very interesting compositions right off the bat for this set. So let's go ahead and get it started with our casters in the booth.
Thanks, Gabby and Gore. Rain Day Pretty here to get the cast going for NIP and Mouse. It's Diggy Dog's kind of an inaugural moment here in the European side of professional play. He's been a big Oceanic player forever and now has a chance to shine with what some would consider the big boys.
Yeah, and Nip aren't really going to miss any strides here. They're picking up their Ying. They're not slowing down for him. They're not really prioritizing him. I don't think he's going to be a weight. We talked about this, right? He's filling in those shoes of Simsalo, Lazy, whatever you want to call it at this point. They're blaster guy. However, no blasters drafted this time around for NIP. We expect them to either be on the Leon or the Cassie.
Interesting start as well for them. Ice Mine's not your typical let's get this set going type of map, but it will prove to be potentially very rewarding for Mousesports if they can sneak a win against a team that desperately is one they need to climb above in order to say that they have unequivocally stepped up into that competition for third spot. However, NIP always ever searching for that top 1 and 2, and they do not want to slip to Mousesports today at all.
It's getting close. They have a much better shot.
And that's
okay,
what
this
I thought.
is frozen.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Guard.
I was
that's
like, it's frozen, and then the ice mines. Okay, so
yeah. Okay, I was gonna say because
Okay.
they normally will run Ying on frozen guard. Not normally, but this is something they've done in the past. Bird pretty comfortable with this focusing lens Ying, as well as Mousesports bringing out a Torvald today. It's kind of funny. I saw it in the PCS for the first time in a long time. So we'll have to see what Mousesports have got in their back pocket.
Diggy here firing away on the heirloom rifle. We've heard so much of that in Realm Royale as of late, but the weapon not nerfed at all here, still doing what it needs to do. In fact, hitting multiple people at a time, and hit scan as always. Perdo dashing away, 21% now for NIP. Mousesports contesting.
Wow!
They lose bees just like that.
Where did that come from? That was crazy. He just completely melted all of a sudden under the pressure. I don't even think he saw that coming and reacted in kind. 42 for NIP. They need to exploit this lead a little bit more. Doodle's going to take down Diggy, but he's going to cost his life for it.
And I love it from Doodle trying to, get that carry off the board for NIP, but there's just so much pressure, and Chipa has really locked him in a corner there. Wardersfield and then some heals coming through. Not enough from Ying, and Bird piloting that one. They're going to back off, still 75% on the objective, and great zones, great dismount coming from Ying as well. One of the things that we don't often talk about her strengths, but on this map can play a vital role in damage from afar.
She has such a big range increase recently. Champion, same with Torvald almost, that never really had their time back under the magnifying lens, so to speak. So they got a couple of big changes here, but Bird's really the only one that's given her the time of day. Ozone messed around with Ying a little bit in the PGS with Ying on Frozen Guard, but overall, still maybe an untapped potential.
And he sees it here. He's actually going to shatter for it to get Andrew Doodle off the board, sacrificing the healing and saying, I've got my ultimate just instead to keep everyone nice and healthy. This looks like it will be NIP cleaning it up, and Cybate goes down. Diggy Dog finding the kill there, off to a really nice debut. And Perdo as well saying, don't forget about me. I'm still fragging out. NIP take objective number 1.
You know, her damage is great, especially when you got a guy like Bird who has played the game for so long and has seen metas that, you know, Ying was a staple.
Include, yeah.
Exactly. So she's got that great damage. The ultimate is just amazing, right? There's no way you keep Cauterize applied to all 5 people. Somebody's getting a stupid amount of healing put through to them. And other than that, you need to just burst them down. And Ying, honestly, the way that Bird's building her, the reliability of her weapon nowadays, that ultimate charges so quickly, it's, you know, you can use it almost willy-nilly, so it's okay maybe that her heal in between ultimates maybe isn't as strong, especially when they're running her in a double support type of scenario.
Nick, you know how I know you might not be good at Paladins?
How?
You miss Ying ultimates. I'd say that will qualify.
Well, I've never missed one, so I'm insane.
You're a pro.
I'm insane.
Wow, I don't recall a lot that I've missed either. Sheepa, Bird, Diggy Dog, they find 3 there, and it's NIP all the way. This is exactly what they wanted, and when you talked about it earlier, just a great opener. You know, Mousesports, definitely one of the lesser performing teams in the PPL historically and this season as well, considering Fnatic and Navi could have been your contestants today, but you know, Mouse and VP, certainly a good look for NIP in their doubleheader. Yeah,
they need to get both of these wins out if they want to have a chance to come to land. This payload is incredibly close to conversion here. The Grumpy Bomb's going to go out. Everyone from NIP still pretty healthy. Bird only 15% away from that ultimate. Buck's jumping in. Buck is committing here, but the Dimensional Link just slips him right out of trouble.
Goa 1 shot away, and Perdo knows it. Trying to find it. The pressure up top from Sephi Cloud is immense, and so he's going to dodge roll. Finds the kill. That's the healer. The Gorge still alive, damaging him. 160, 150, and Andrew Doodle will put him into the grave, finding a double kill there. Andrew Doodle showing up big for Mousesports. They need him to continue serving that role for their team.
Kind of an awkward little spot they were put in there. And these games so critical for NIP. They're in a much better spot to make top 2 this split than they were at the split before. Navi have already lost both of their games against Fnatic, though, so their schedule just got a whole lot easier for the last couple of weeks.
It's going to be very interesting to see how this all transcends and unfolds. As only time will tell, and play will tell as well. How will this switch from Diggy Dog? Will it push them to the next level? That's what everyone has been wanting to see. That's what the hopes are for NIP, especially after things looked pretty good with Simsalou. So taking a gamble yet again, this time a positive one. Koa still in the back line, in the sights of Perdo. One more shot will do it, and he gets him with the blast shot. Beautiful play there.
Ultimates across the board available. Buck trying to get into the back line. Cybate punished. Nice void grip there. Diving onto Bird has proved unfruitful. No one's been able to capitalize on him easily. Dimensional Link can be very difficult to play against.
Oh, and that damage as well. A little bit of burst there to help burn down the Torval. It's what you need from your support. Often like a Genos, really serving that role, and the push is successful. NIP off to really the ground running at full speed. And Mousesports trying to keep up.
And they don't have a lot of great ways to apply Cauterize off the rip. Cybates had to dive in just to be effective at any stage of the game here. And he's only sitting about midway on the damage charts here. When Sheep is beating you on the Inara, when you've got a Ying hot on your heels, it's not a great look. And Terminus dead last, but it is Frozen Guard. So yeah, I don't know how much you're necessarily expecting. They do have Maldamba, which tends to come with a Swift Spirits. We can check Koa's loadout there, making things a little bit easier, as well as the fact that he is getting Bulldozer online, so once he's able to just two-shot the Warder's field, he can stay in Inara's face much more effectively.
And you know what works about this is this kind of identity that they've shifted around just playing the duo tank, the hard support, and going with more of a, we're going to run some damage-oriented supports with some damage-oriented legendaries for ourselves and our team, and the strong solo Inara. I don't know if this works if you have a Barrack. It may. I mean, Barrack synergizes really well with Ying, but without a Stigala, you know, with the lack of healing and the way that they're prioritizing on Sheepa, just maintaining that front line presence.
Look at Diggy
against the Terminus, and Diggy Dog going into the back line here, trying to make it happen, but through time and space.
And he lives.
He's going to delete Cybate and Andrew Doodle there. NIP looking really good off the start.
That's the Ying ultimate, man. There's not enough damage on the field at that point. Once Diggy has dived and gotten 1 kill,
wow.
NTB swinging the max, or Massacre Axe all you want. You're not going to have enough DPS without Caught 3 to be able to burn through this Leon.
And I think Perdo right now is at 10-1 at least in terms of a KDA, 9-1. The only other player to die as little as he has is Bird, who's on a 10 streak, 3-1-17
Jeez.
on the Ying. So things looking really good for them coming off sharp this week.
Not an easy composition to play against because it's not one that you probably see very often. Ying has that element of she's pretty solid through and through, but you don't play against her hardly at all. Even I can't even remember the last time I saw Ying in a casual game even. So it's very difficult when you go against this master level Ying player who's played the character for so long. For him, it's kind of like getting back on the bike, I imagine.
And I like, too, just decisions, not only composition-wise, but decision-making. The wall, the Warder's Field there, the shatter sometimes from Bird to continuously apply pressure, so he knows they're not safe. These clones aren't just going to be heal bots as the reanimate comes through and NTPs goes down just like that. It looks like Mousesports maybe just without the tools to deal with this composition effectively.
We talked about this a little bit last week. NIP know how to win. They know what to do when they're winning big as well, to rip that lead open and make it just an unrecoverable gap between you and them. 2 ultimates left for Mousesports. They spend a huge reanimate there to try and keep this push alive, and NTB just gets his legs cut back out from under him.
And it's a rough one, but you got to say maybe he needed that. You know, if he lets that go and the momentum comes back to haunt them, reanimating at the end, they may not get a chance to. And so he knows this game is very close to being over. 57 seconds left, and Cybate is caught in the middle. And,
he's caught off. There's 2 fights going on here, Evan. It's a 2v3 at the base and a 2v3 in the backline there. Cybate goes down. Meanwhile, Mousesports don't capitalize on their numbers advantage, and Peridot sneaks out yet again.
And no eyes on Peridot, really. And Diggy here just happy to take advantage of it. And maybe that's the presence of Diggy knowing this is the threat that's going to pull some more eyes away from Peridot. That wasn't there before. NIP grabbed the victory. It's a pretty simple one for them. And like you said, Nick, when they're winning,
they know
fantastic.
how to win. Diggy knows how to win. This is good for him as well. This was a big question I had. Does he know how to lose? That's why these 2 matchups, Mousesports and Virtus.pro, I think are great for him to get his feet wet in the PPL because he's used to always winning and winning very hard with Kenga.
And, you know, these teams obviously are going to come with everything they've got, but so far, not even close to stopping NIP today. I'm sure the desk has to break some of this down because it does seem like NIP are going to be steamrolling unless a huge adjustment shows up for Mousesports in Game 2.
Very interesting seeing the Genos and Ying combination here. What were your thoughts on NIP bringing this double support?
I like the way they did it because, again, both of them probably don't have enough healing on their own. Ying maybe, well, she does have more overall than Genos will, but Genos with the Luminary buff is always a lot more useful. So being able to kind of pair them together, you get the best of both worlds. A lot of damage from each, as well as that healing that's just going to be able to supplement you there. And you can see, I mean, just a little more. Well, yeah, I guess a little in terms of 14,000, but still enough to make a difference.
And the fact that, yes, you have that aspect because they're supports, but then having damaging capabilities as well. So as a unit, they really offered that extra element to this composition.
I was surprised to see Shatter used as often as it is. That's one of the things, every time you look at Ying's kit, you're like, all right, you throw out an illusion, it's going to heal. You can dimensional travel to either of those so you're feeling safe. Shatter always feels like the odd man out because it's like, all right, now destroy all of those. Your healing goes to none, but you get a little bit of damage on the side. And Bird used it appropriately, either in tandem with his ult or in a time that his cooldowns were just perfect, that it's like, okay, I'm going to be down for like 1 second, then I'll have another illusion for you.
And this was the premiere of Diggy Dog on NIP, so I think there were some good moments right there at the end, pulling the focus away so that Peridot could get his shots off. What did you think of his performance here?
It felt like a good fit, and I think that's one of the things. It's never one of those areas that you want one player constantly having like the most highlights. You kind of want it to be spread out, and I feel like that's what NIP have right now. It's just, okay, you're doing a little bit now, you're doing a little bit there, and everyone's getting like their moment in the light, but also just consistent damage all across.
That was just game number 1, and pretty convincing from NIP. Let's find out where game number 2 is going to be. We're in quite the icy place, and now it's time for Splitstone Quarry.
I feel like this is like, we go to map 3, and they're going to choose like Ice Mine. So, all right, slow it down. Keep it completely slow. Although I like Splitstone Quarry, again, big maps, I want to say, for some of the champions that Mouse can play, as well as some of the champions that NIP can play. And being able to kind of go through the drafting phase, I think, is like the secret to getting a good Splitstone Quarry anything.
And just like game number 1, Maeve, first one banned away. Not going to be any Makoa either. And I really want to see, is NIP going to take this set to just kind of rinse and repeat things just to get a footing, or are they going to try these different types of compositions? We don't get to see Ying very often. Yeah. What are they going to bring out in game 2? Is this kind of their experimental ground to see exactly what Diggy Dog has within their team unit?
I'm kind of curious about the same, and I'm also curious about what changes Mouse can make, because there was a lot that they did right in that last game. It was just that NIP reacted to it the best way you could every single time. I said, man, Andrew Doodle looked really good on the Bomb King, but there was only so much he could do when things are just not going right for anyone else. I didn't see that many impact plays from the Buck, and again, it gets locked in, and NIP are just like, all right, this is the best way to deal with it. We'll get the Genos and the Leon. You don't have healing. You don't have the damage boost.
And I wonder if part of it as well is we saw Diggy Dog on the Leon in game number 1. If it's going to be him in game number 2, maybe they want to get him on something he's comfortable with, consistent playing, so that the first step is trying to vibe with the rest of the team in different types of comps. And the next step is seeing what he does when he adjusts with that.
And I'm kind of curious, especially with this map. It's one of those ones where we've seen snipers fall pretty, I want to say, heftily out of play. Some of the players aren't either used to the scopes or they don't like the scope changes, so they're looking for something to fill that void. Leon, Cassie are kind of the ones that you go to. Shaolin, I would say, is like number 3 on that. Leon probably number 1, where it's just like, you're going to be long range, you're hit scan, I can shoot the way I want, but I don't have to worry about the scope, so it makes it a little bit more hectic for some of the longer ranges, but she still fills that role.
Oh, might be the Pip, though. Well, it is the Pip, actually. I guess I went colorblind for a second, looking over here, locked in. So the fact that we have the Bomb King and the Pip on one side, you're facing off some traditional picks for Mousesports on the other. Let's go ahead and see how it all shakes out.
Well, interesting stuff here. Again, NIP going for more of a non-traditional type, yet still very traditional for Europe, working the Pip into their lineup. And again, with Diggy Dog coming in, Nick, to me, reminds me of that guy who's like an Andre Iguodala from the NBA. He can kind of play any position, small forward, power forward, shooting guard, point guard if you need him to.
I think because of their dominance, he's really had a lot of room to sort of shine. And when you are so far ahead of your scene and there's no pressure on you that you can try something else, and even if it's not going well for you, Chronix and Joel are still there to win you the game.
Right.
If you're absolutely falling flat on your face. That being said, that hasn't really ever happened. Diggy Dog, known as a blaster player primarily, has started to dip his toes into the world of Leon. Played a little bit of Pip for Kenga as well. All around, just a hell of an asset, I think, for NIP to add.
Pretty incredible. You look at NIP, and it's pretty much a roster of guys who strike you as, Bonker, Diggy Dog, Bird, Sheepa, kind of play it all, play anything. And Perdo probably the one who has maybe the least of flexibility within his class, yet so good at those carries, so good at those damage-dealing roles.
Agreed.
But still, showing a lot of flexibility, NIP adding that to their roster, hoping it works out. Perdo this time, taking the reins on the side of House Ico as they fire from above, holding the high ground here on Splitstone Quarry.
Sheepa getting towards a bit of a situation here. They've got Bonker back on the Genos. First blood is going to be good. They find it onto NTB. He catches him looking right as soon as he peeks his head out again. Saibe moves in on the Buck. Bird keeps himself up.
That Moxie heal, man, is very, very important. Able to get that full heal almost onto himself and just retreat, have another chance at the fight. And that another chance is a chance that Saibe missed. He was waiting for his one opportunity.
Was he Mega Potion? I can't remember.
It does feel...
We take a quick peek at the talents. I just want to see that Mega Potion.
Does feel like...
No, he's Catalyst.
All right. So we could have fought that. He actually missed the shot as he was jumping up. Buck, a super weird hitbox to hit as he's moving. And Bird just retreats. He relocates. And Diggy Dog firing away on the Bomb King, one of the champions he's most known for.
But they never dealt with Saibe. He went back there, and then Bird just left. Left him up there on his high ground. Bird's going to die now. Saibe still very healthy. Diggy, the longer this fight goes, the more recoveries he's going to be able to get off. That you just heard another one come through there. Saibe burned down on the low ground, though, because Perdo's got 90% anti-heal.
And 75% counting for Mousesports. They've got to deal with NTBs very soon. The wall comes up. Great wall from him, but is it too early?
Oh, man.
That's the problem. He's going to need it maybe right now. 99%. Mousesports take the objective. Sheepa can't get back on. That wall ends up being perfect from Bees, and they buy just enough time to take the lead over NIP.
Ultimate's just starting to come up as well. That won't connect. Sheepa's already gone by the time it gets there. Perdo just trying to get back to safety. NIP falling back as they lose the first payload of Splitstone Quarry to Mousesports.
And, it matters so much to these guys. NIP not a part of LAN for the last LAN adventure we had in May, and that's got to sting. And this is something that they're going to be taking with the utmost care, really trialing every single moment as if it is their last, as if this could mean everything for their season, as it certainly does here. You cannot drop games, cannot drop any chance to move forward.
This is big for them. They haven't missed any lands, frankly,
since the
including Diggy Dog as well.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a guy that I think expects excellence. He expects to be here. This first spring wave was the only ones they've ever missed. Atrax was the last time we've gotten to see these guys in person. Saibe with an awkward exit. He doesn't end up making it all the way out. Gets tripped up and slain there. 124 on the clock. This is the corner, though, that NIP are looking to hold. Doodle picks up a double.
Nice stuff from him. And the fire spit actually cleans up a lot. And he's actually going to make it out just for a second. Cheapo picks him up. The game seems to be paused here by Koa. And so looking at that round, I actually am not too mad if I'm NIP. I think that Bird has an average round there. I don't think he commits a lot of damage onto the battlefield. I think he holds a good position on that right side, but more safe, tentative. If that Catalyst really starts to pay off as a tertiary damage threat for them, I think Bees is going to be in trouble. No Evil Mojo there as well. That was a rather long point fight to not see an ultimate come out of. But he did get his charge rate hit a little bit in that last patch. So curious to see how that's impacting him, and maybe just Bird's playstyle shifting here to be more dominant.
He wasn't finding a ton of damage. He's not Mega Potion, so he's not getting a ton of healing through. Peridot played almost that whole round on the low ground. Bird played almost the whole round on the high ground. So whether it's low or high, probably high, I think it's an easier adjustment for Peridot to come high than it is for Bird to go low. But if they play together, they've got 90% anti-heal, so it becomes much more difficult to dive if you're Side-Bait, and I think you deter him a little bit more effectively.
And also have to say maybe a really good round from Side-Bait, exceptionally, in terms of distracting, in terms of being a threat that forced Bird away from looking to the point and looking behind him constantly. And this is what he's continuing to do, just really being that threat. And Buck is like the best character to do that for. It's either going to be up to Peridot to help with the damage earlier on, or leave it and say, hey, get to your own devices, buddy. We'll see you when you're back on the battlefield with us, as he approaches now and almost gets melted down.
That's kind of awkward, though. Like, they are leaving him a decent amount. Granted, NIP aren't the most mobile composition out there. Pip can bounce around, get close enough, but I don't know if that's a 1v1 Bird's willing to take. He doesn't have to. Bees is caught in an awkward spot here. Last couple of seconds on the clock. Good shots landing from Bird. Forces Doodle out.
And mid-air stuff is not unusual for him. He's played the champion quite a while. I think dealing with this Buck is going to be the real question mark. Andrew Doodle had a couple of nice moments in this round, just spotting around corners, landing direct shots, two tapping.
Oh, the 14
two times in a row.
Come on, bro.
I mean, that's a scary number.
Ouch. Diggy wasn't ready for that one, but he knows that feeling all too well. He's done that to a couple of boys in his day. 5-2 for the dudes, and he's frankly carrying almost 100% of the killing blows of Mousesports. So if it wasn't him, it just wasn't getting done. Koa 0-3, 0-2 for Saib. Koa never had the opportunity to get super aggressive, as well as no one's really standing very still up on the high ground. Maybe that's why Peridot was playing the low ground. There's definitely more cover on the low ground and the back lines on Splitstone than there is on the high.
And Peridot certainly, with, again, the most excellent slash line from round 1, 4-0, I believe, possibly 5.
Okay.
It's a nice fire spit there. Diggy Dog just controlling this corner, and Andrew Doodle as well. There's an Evil Mojo. Sheepa finds NTB, so that's a big swing. Front line taken down, and now Mousesports are without their centerpiece.
Ooh, and they've smelled him out, caught him emoting as well. That's a free shot for Bird. He might be able to, that's a very preemptive heal, though.
It is.
Could have chased Side-Bait out regardless. The boys definitely come in spades to help because they've already won the objective. They win the backline fight as well. Mousesports don't have a leg to stand on.
And he must be getting there just through sheer ingenuity or a master riding of some sort. I'm not sure if we could bring the items up as well, but Side-Bait just continually in that backline and just running the cauterize. So absolutely nothing, just trickiness and just patience and waiting is what is getting Buck into that far, far back line. ATB is going in with the seismic crash, but a beautiful avoid there with the rocket boots behind the collision of the pillar. And so he's going to stay unstunned, and that's going to be Andrew Doodle hitting the dust.
That's rough, man. That's your initiation there. Everyone else is already committing. They're already putting themselves in spots to fight, and when they don't get those stuns that they're definitely counting on, eats the full duration of the fear as well. Shot. Turns around, puts one in the face. Bird has no trouble shrugging off that support ultimate.
Great stuff from him, and NIP take command as we would have expected on Splitstone. Now in the lead 2-1, and this is where we could start to see them shine. They can take a few more risks now, Nick, knowing they have the objective, and it is good for these guys to get going, and Diggy to get it going on this Bomb King. He's looked pretty good. Not incredible.
Yeah, not making any plays just yet. Doing what he needs to do. It's a different caliber of player. Don't expect the same recklessness you'll see from Diggy Dog. Don't expect to see as much Eevee. I don't think. I wonder if he will step up and be the Eevee player for this roster. I think it's a good look for them. I think NIP need to squeeze every ounce of usefulness out of Diggy as they possibly can if they're going to start to compete with Navi and Fnatic again.
And that's some confident stuff. I mean, imagine the comms, imagine the clarity to say, let's wait. We're staggering Bs. Hold that fire. And everyone just listening. Clear enough. No yelling, no excitement. This is down to business for these guys. Diggy knows that as well. He knows there's so much on the line. He finds an easy kill there. No need to King Bomb. I think they're going to push this one through. He's just going to secure it, I guess. The wall comes up, looking for the support. He's going to find Sephi Cloud, but he goes down as well. Andrew Doodle trading. And now Perdo is still firing away. Yet to die at all this game, Nick. And they may just call it back. Commentator's curse.
Come on, man. You know, Aggro and I talked about starting to actually sell the Caster's Curse.
Would you like to sell it in a positive way? Is that what you're saying?
You know, whatever you need it for. Positive or negative is simply a point of view, a point of business, my friend.
You know, Mousesports paying me to
it's part of the seminar,
positively
though.
about
Yeah, well, it's part of the seminar. We'll get you caught up.
Okay. So I can buy a ticket into the seminar, and then, you know, if it works, I can buy some DVDs.
And if you sign up a couple of your friends under you, then that's where you really start to get rolling.
Oh, okay, I got it. All right. So just it's a mastercraft idea right here. You guys are
completely original business model.
I love it. I love it. You guys seem to understand profits. And
Aggro said he went to business school.
Well, then I believe him.
Yeah,
I mean, that's all you need. I read it on the internet, so it must be true, right?
Absolutely.
Well, let's base our whole life's decisions on it. Here we go. 28 seconds left. We've got some new classes we're going to be taking with Aggro and Nick later on. Diggy having a few nice moments, but Mousesports definitely getting the better end of the last 30 seconds or so. They pushed NIP back.
Yeah.
And Andrew Doodle has slowed any momentum that NIP had earlier this round.
Bird and Diggy just weren't in the position to follow up on that. You saw the other three members of NIP kind of out ready to fight. But they definitely hit a brick wall. Diggy and Bird had to kind of sit there, heal up, back off a little bit. Mousesports easily able to capitalize on the numbers game there, splitting up the boys 2-3. Keeping the board to 2-2 though. Perdo stays out in front on damage, which isn't easy to do, but he's frankly, you know, kind of played Cassie the same way. He sort of just sat in the back line, didn't go for anything crazy, and just stayed consistent.
7-2 here. And 2-4 for Bird. Only one killing blow per round for him, but he's more focusing on the assists as well. 11-4 total. Not a bad KDA by him. And I think last round when we saw that moment where Diggy went into the King Bomb, it just felt a little bit off sync. He got that late. He actually activated it right as he landed. And so that was what stalled it. It felt like maybe they weren't sure they were fully ready to commit there. And the comms might have just been, my bad. All right, we'll take it over again. Still getting used to the nuances of playing with these new players and teammates.
Salvo rips through, finds about half damage of Max there, walling off his buddy's spit. The Dragon Punch is going to come through. Sheepa's definitely in range of this, but Doodle does not want to turn that corner.
Yeah, it would have been a very heavy commit. And why not just keep the damage on the battlefield? I love it. And now Sheepa's falling as well. Mousesports trying to turn this thing up a notch, and they certainly are. Cybate with a double kill there. Looking for a triple kill. He's going buck wild, but has he committed too much? Has he given away too much? He gets picked off there in the aggression.
He certainly has, and now that'll be the opportunity for NIP to get back and involved in this fight. Koa, that's the difference. He got aggressive with Cyb. He hasn't done anything this game, for my money, quite frankly. He's almost at the bottom of the damage charts. Dome Shield to immune the Seismic Crash. NIP are right back in the race.
And that's what you want. Take it out with a King Bomb. Nothing found there yet. Evil Mojo as well on the ready. There's so many members in this corner.
Nice.
And he goes for it, looking for double chickens. He's at least going to get one, and Cybate pops out. Bird still finds the kill. Catalyst damage and Explosive Flask onto the Dragon, but Sephi Cloud's his next target. Can this man 1v2? Because he's going to have to. But Andrew Doodle steals the show away. And Mousesports look like they're in a good spot. But here comes Diggy.
Diggy, yeet! Diggy, get in there, boy! Gets the double kill, and he saves, for now, the objective.
Touch!
NIP, he gets the touch. There will be a little overtime. Sheepa's back. Bonker not far behind. Perdo is here as well, but Cybate lurking on this right-hand flank. Evan, he's getting high ground.
I got too excited. I thought it was 99-99. So I'm thinking, touch, you get the point.
Oh, yeah.
All of a sudden, I realized he's got 45%. So the patient play is definitely the smartest one, but they've turned it around. But they have to deal with NTBs, must keep him cauterized, must keep Perdo alive. And Mousesports, they just grab this objective. They're so relentless. Great stuff from them. And I'm already seeing the growth from this team, Nick, as they take a lead and maybe have a chance to push this through for a win against NIP.
4-0 there. Clean sweep of NIP in that take-back objective fight. Beautiful stuff there. It all started with the coordinated dive. That time you saw Cybate and Koa, and frankly, You saw Cephacloud getting involved a little bit there. He was pretty forward on Maldamba as well. That's the difference. Before, it was a very passive. Only Side 8 was riding back to the back line. NIP were able to deal with it fairly easily every single time. And, I mean, you can't hate the call. Ko hasn't been getting much done from the far back line anyway, so you might as well get a little more aggressive.
Yeah, I don't mind it as well. It seems like the aggression, too, is opening up so much on the front line for them, almost as if offense is, you know, the best version of defense they can have, because NTBs is sitting alone, and they're getting 99, 80% on the objective, anywhere between those numbers, every single time they start out these point fights. So why not? You put yourself in a great advantage with an Inara who can sustain with the Maldamba. 1:25, though, and NIP now have to kind of regroup, gather their thoughts and strategies, and try to hold here, not to lose the game.
This is that awkward, like, punch-counter-punch situation where Mousesports have made their counter move. That's a thing they've changed, and it has now worked for them. However, if this defense holds, they're going to go to this 3-3, and then NIP are going to have, all right, this is what they did, this is what we should do to kind of evolve around that.
Yeah.
And it'll be up to Mousesports to readjust again on the fly, unfortunately, this time, though, to try and keep a leg to stand on, because I don't think NIP let that same thing happen again.
Bonker as well. I mean, talk about a guy who's so often setting the tone, setting the pace aggressively on front lines, and anything that you can imagine from Shaolin as well, damaged characters pushing the envelope and play styles. And now on this Genos, not able to do that. NIP forcing, you know, really fights from the direction of when does Bird, Evil Mojo, what kind of pick or poke can Diggy Dog get? And how much damage can Perdot get onto an Inara before she throws that wall in Warder's Field up to protect herself?
Warder's Field comes down there. The wall drops as well, just trying to cover his seismic crash, but Bees, I don't know who he was throwing that at. He must have thought someone was on the low ground, but he comes up completely empty-handed, and his team falls apart around him as a result. He's going to be staggered out here.
Look at those turrets, man.
Turrets.
A nightmare.
Going to work, and they get the kill as well, baby. That's got to be the first PPL turret kill, I think, this whole year.
It was a definite, like, you could see it coming a mile away. Vegas odds were really good. And the turrets get the job done. They take the kill. They take the win. Turrets won. NIP won as well. Can Mousesports get in on the action and tie it up? That's what this round will tell us. They've got one more chance to take the victory. And I don't know. They've been doing well enough to get it.
I think you just got to get value for your ultimates here. It's definitely, you got to play carefully around the Dome Shield. Almost have to wait out the Dragon Punch there. You cannot afford to get nothing from Dome Shield. Diggy, you don't have to get hyper aggressive with the King Bomb. I think you can. I mean, time and space has not been a factor this game, so if you just, you know, leverage a stun on that Bonker, make sure you're hitting someone that doesn't have CCR in their loadout, and that's a guaranteed kill on anyone except for Inara. I think that's an easy way to go here.
Bit of a unorthodox draft maybe for NIP, although still, you know, in the wheelhouse. So much is in the wheelhouse. We talked about their flexibility earlier. As an early kill on Andrew Doodle is going to set things up for NIP. So now the flank has to be dealt with. If they can deal with this, Heat Haste still available for Koa, and the pressure from Side 8, this can turn the tide for Mousesports or secure NIP's victory.
Here they come. Here comes the reinforcements, Evan, on the low ground. Diggy Dog is here. Bird is here. They're putting pressure on Saib. And the longer they stall this out, the better. NIP capturing away for free. Not an ultimate from NIP used yet either.
Missed the high ground as well. Side finds Bonker, and that's a big one. Dragon's Fury coming through. Here's the Dragon Punch. Can he find one? He finds Diggy. Side 8 finds a double as well. A double for Doodle. And Mousesports have essentially teamed wiped NIP. This is an incredible performance in round number 4. I wonder if this is going to be enough to secure the victory.
Trigger discipline, though. NIP have all 5 ultimates. They got to make something work. They got to find some value anywhere at this point. Sheepa burns his rocket boots very early. Here comes the King Bomb. Time and space. Time and space. Good for nothing. What'll King Bomb find?
Oh, no. Evil Mojo. Can they find him? They will. King Bomb gets the easy kill onto NTBs. The Inara, the Stone Warden, falls back. And NIP, just like that, are in a position to win. 81%, 84. They don't have a tank. They're going to have to start committing damage dealers. Maybe even the healers, and that's going to be it. It looks like Andrew Doodle melting away. Double kill for Perdot. And I think NIP have just stolen this game back.
Enlightenment's ready to go. Bird falling lower and lower. They're going to lose Sheepa here, but it's a 3-on-1. Inara throws up the wall to cut off some of this damage for a time. She's only staggered. What the hell? How did she?
I don't know, Nick. I don't know. Maybe a Void Grip.
NTB's on that new tech.
On that new Void Grip. Void Grip buff brings you all the way into the stratosphere.
I didn't want to have to pull this out in game number 2.
If a Galactic Leon... oh! He only uses one hand. When he uses 2, it just goes that far. And maybe the Galactic Leon skin influenced him, so he was basically sending her to space. I have no idea, but Mousesports fortunately can't grab that one, but very close. You got to say, that one slipped between their fingers.
Getting better and better, closer and closer. That flank ends up paying off, but it's one of those situations where it just took too long to pay off. 65% already on the objective. NIP, you got to give them credit, though, not using a single ultimate. The second they saw that fight going south, they just said, let's get what we can, cut our losses, though.
Super patient. They know when they're out of it, and they know when they're still in it. They take 2 games now over Mousesports in this best of 5. Let's see if they can get a third.
It was much closer this time, but NIP still walked away with the victory. And I think in the end, especially when you saw Perdeaux with the double kill that came out, just very consistent play on this Leon pick.
And a lot of what they did, and the way I can think of it is that it was the trigger discipline, exactly what Nick had said, and he had mentioned it kind of twice. You go into these fights, and usually it's kind of like, well, this team has ult, so they have an advantage, which is always going to be the case, but both teams come into that round ready to fight, and it is just the fact that NIP recognized, okay, we didn't win this fight, whatever, we were on the point for a little while, so we already have some control. We don't have to rush it. We can just kind of calmly come back into this, keep ourselves collected. Everything they did was spot on. There were some moments that were, again, a little weak, but I think that was more strength from Mouse than anything.
And early on within this game, you had the fact that Andrew Doodle was the one landing all the last hits and everything. There's your pop out of the sky. You know,
throw
she
her
just
into space and then put her in the ground.
Yeah, I guess. Bring rocks back down to the earth where they belong. But you saw Andrew Doodle on the Drogos, and that's where Mousesports was heavily relying upon. He had 5, I think it was going into the second round, where there's only one other less than somebody else, but he had 5 of the 6. And eventually they had to try and catch up with the rest of the team.
I don't know if this is a weird analogy, if anyone else was getting vibes like I was for this, but Mouse felt very SK on that map with the way things were going. It was very successful. There were a lot of things that were going right, but you could kind of see, like, you could draw almost direct comparisons to the last time I feel like I saw SK on this map and their success versus what we just saw with Mouse there. A lot of things they did right, but again, it was just more NIP patience that I think really led to their downfall.
Well, map number 3, let's find out where it is. NIP could just go ahead and close it out here if they want. Serpent Beach is their destination, but things were pretty tight during that last game. Do you think it was one scenario for this set, or is Mousesports just going to keep following up on that?
I feel like it was partially the map, partially performance when it comes down to it. Mouse played well, but they also played well for Splitstone Quarry. Here coming to Serpent Beach changes just a little bit. There's still some things, a lot of the picks they've been focusing on, Buck and Drogo specifically, still work really well here.
Yeah, and even though they have 2 losses, I feel like it's not the picks that did it. So you could just stick with those picks and maybe change some things around those if you want. So they're still going with the Buck prioritization for Cybate, and it makes sense, especially with your loadout if you can reach that high ground.
Genos, Leon is what they've been doing, although it was always Leon Genos. This time they flop it just to add some spice to those first 3. Make sure it's like, look, guys, it wasn't Buck, Leon, Genos. It's Buck, Genos, Leon. It's completely different. Drogo's coming through. Again, the drafts honestly could be the exact same as last game and still find success for either side.
Yeah, Inara, we know NTBs has been loving this pick. Drogos for Andrew Doodle, obviously, and then on the opposite end, Genos and Leon, we had Diggy Dog on it in game number 1, Perdeaux on it in game number 2. That's the nice thing about locking it earlier, is it gives you a bit more leeway later on in your draft, where if you decide you don't want that player on that Leon, then somebody else can take it.
They did a little shake-up.
Yeah, it looked... Sometimes I'm just
and
like,
honestly,
all right, I don't trust it until
I looked
it's
at
in color.
Barrick Bomb King, and I was like, I mean, this is still going to be good. Shaolin Barrick is still going to be really good. Shaolin, I actually think, is really, really solid on this map just because of his mobility and his movement. There's a lot of places where it's either you can get away or you can get behind the team without them actually knowing you moved back there.
So they do have the Bomb King, Barrick, Shaolin, Leon, and Genos. So Barrick solo frontline versus the Inara on the opposite side.
Inara with Damba Grover. So a lot of healing, a lot of point stability from Mouse. And some good damage from Grover, but I feel like Barrick brings in his own damage with Shaolin, Leon, Bomb King. There's going to be a lot of flexibility. Bees has a lot of work, or he's going to be taking a lot of damage when it comes down to it. He's going to have to take the brunt of it on the point.
Well, it's do or die for Mousesports, everybody. Let's find out what happens in game number 3.
Serpent Beach always is a tale of Purdue and Shiva, essentially. NIP are born in the beach, and I think at this point, Mousesports are kind of just on vacation. Hopefully it works out a little bit better, than, I guess, I don't know, a bad vacation?
Sure.
A National Lampoon's vacation, which always ends up in some crazy shenanigans.
I mean, some of my best memories of Mousesports are on Serpent Beach. I think they've had some of their best showings on this map for sure, but you're absolutely right. NIP are a scary roster on this map as well. And while I'm not wrong,
you're not wrong.
I can't quite say that I'm right yet either.
Sure. The shore.
Serpent Shore.
Serpent Shore.
Serpent sells seashells down by the seashore.
Yes, by the seashore. Seashells by the seashore. Serpent Beach is, going to be the spot where we could maybe end it here. NIP have to get this game, you'd assume. Ferocity, I haven't seen that one in a while. Especially,
no way.
Considering the fact that, Sephiroth is piling the Maldamba, you have some room to go offensive. Let's check that scoreboard one more time to make sure that he actually stayed with it, and it is going to be Ferocity, so...
Doesn't look like an efflorescence slowdown, that's for sure.
Yeah, some increased damage.
I can't wait to see a Vine Grasp 5 Vine. I want to see the full potential of that bad boy.
I mean, and can't you go to enemies as well?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, so... Purdue, watch out. You're in prime position. I love the fact that he's shutting down maybe the rocket boots, and he does delay it, though the shield is enough to keep him healthy. 747 from that range, a decent amount for a support to be hitting. And First Blood still goes away at Bonker.
I can't believe they all make it out of there. Diggy was put in a bad spot. Sheepa was actually one shot. He manages to skirt by not only Koa, but he manages to get past Jirogos as well, and now as the Noose Titans. Bonker has picked up all 3 so far for NIP. He is at 67% on his ultimate.
I mean, Lambo Leon, and that's what you want the Grover there for. You want to shut down this slide. And you can look at the loadout that he's running. He's running some high level of Manifest Destiny, you might assume, or maybe he actually got off. Yeah, it's level 5. And then he's also running Heir to the Throne. So these 2 cards, especially when he gets off a ledge, is going to basically take him cross-map in an instant to be able to engage or to chase enemies down.
And the healing being shut down as well. Grover ultimates are not going to be impactful. Maybe that's why they go for the Ferocity as well. It's tough to invest fully into healing when a Death and Taxes Leon is having this type of game.
I mean, this is... this is like, the guy pulls up in the Lamborghini on the valet, and, they don't even take the car to be parked. They just leave it there. Easy in, easy out for Bonker. 9 streak, and a little bit of a Luminary Astral Mark for him as well from the Genos. Ninjas in Pyjamas, primed and ready. They're not taking their foot off the gas.
This is great, too, because, Bonker hasn't had a really incredible performance in a while. He's been forced to play a lot of role-playing type of stuff. Whether he needs to flex onto that Genos, which he's done often for this team. He's already done it twice in this set. They put him there often. They don't put him on that star role anymore. There's the Enlightenment coming out, and he's showing us why he won that MVP at Worlds 1.
And, a little risky, too. He waits about 4 or 5 seconds. Heroically could easily be up at that point, but it must have been just off cooldown. And probably understanding the timing very well himself. Diggy Dog with a nice bounce as well. And this is the flexibility we talked about. Bonker, he could be, yes, doing a double front line. He might find himself on Fernando this game. But he now finds himself on Leon. It opens up for Diggy Dog to be able to play that true blaster role for them as well. And this is just really a great performance. Great start off for him on his debut for NIP.
Calling him out. The reinforcements are arriving, but Diggy Dog, clay pigeoned mid-air. 117 on the clock. Cybate trying to disengage, but he just burned his recovery. It seems as though that'll be enough to bail him out. And that one pick, in combination with the fact that everyone fell back to try and help Diggy originally, is enough for Mousesports to stabilize.
And so much, of this conversation, I don't want to tilt it too far towards Barrick, but I think it is worth mentioning the fact that he is becoming more and more a staple in games because of the amount of bans we see throughout the frontline class. And in the Terminus, the Inara, the Fernandos, the Khans, things that the Makoas, obviously, the things that are really, Barrick is a safe pick. He's a Leon, so to speak, on the front line that she is for a safe damage pick that's almost always going to be open.
Especially, he's got merit in these 3 DPS Luminary comps for sure. I think the best thing for a frontliner to do is just contribute some more damage.
Absolutely.
And if that's all Barrick can do, that's all Barrick can do, but it's something.
You got a little accent there. That's all Barrick can do. That's all Barrick can do.
It's all cream gravy.
It's all cream gravy. If you know what I mean, that's all I can do. And Bonker, he says, well,
another one.
This is all I can do as well. DJ Khaled in the background screaming somewhere. And he's watching Paladin, big Paladins fan. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Was playing Paladins while he concepted the idea of
The catchphrase.
the catchphrase. Yeah, another one. Would you guys be down for DJ Khaled Paladins voice pack? 'Cause
I would.
I think I'd be down.
I would sacrifice the Bruce Buffer voice pack to get a DJ Khaled one.
Hey, don't say that about Bruce. Great guy.
He's a great guy.
I would never sacrifice my own, though.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. That's ridiculous. What, do you want me to cut off my own feet, too?
Topical,
Jeez Louise.
meme-laden, relevant.
You know, my God. All right. Get back into this action. NIP. Well, the Koa, I mean, the pick. Really.
Wow.
I mean, that's what he's there to shut down with the crippling axe, but does he have time? He
Good
hasn't even
luck.
seen him yet.
Good luck hitting a crippling axe on that, dude. My goodness.
The read, dude. We need slow motion
The
on
hottest
that.
read.
The hottest read in 2020. He's on this side of the map. Koa throws it opposite side of the map, and he just slides into it. That's the perfect version of this. And look at that. Sephic Cloud already getting aggressed on. This should be a dead bonker. Enlightenment as well. Turns it around. Hides in the dome shield. NTB's now under pressure. And Lambo Leon skates out of dodge. Looking good, Hollywood.
My goodness, the space created Bonker with eyes in the back of his head. Completely lack of hesitation there. 180. Gorgeous enlightenment across the map. And that, I think, sends Mousesports reeling. NIP take another 100-3 capture.
Those are the types of plays you just don't come back from. Mentally, you just don't come back from that. She's dead to rights. We throw everything at her. We throw a Dread Serpent at her. And she turns around, gets a kill, and then she hides in the dome shield. Come on. That's not what you want to see. And that's just sometimes the sight of a player who is happy, who is engaged, who is focused, who is free, doesn't have a lot of extra weight on him. He's just there to frag, and that's just a great thing for Bonker to be able to do after filling so many roles for his team. And, yeah, you saw that. Through time and space, that was a good option for Burr, but he backs off.
Big juice back for NTBs, though. 86% on his ult after shutting down the 19 streak for Bonker. This is one of the best games he's had since that performance at Worlds 1, straight up. Pretty incredible stuff from him. They give him the reins for a game, and he takes off to the races. 140 now to get this one pushed through, but not a ton of high ground options for NIP unless they want to send Diggy Dog up there.
And
He's
they do.
positioning for it. And that's why you don't.
Only problem is they didn't have a scouting report there. Needed an assassin from Realm Royale for that sensor drone, maybe a hunter, throw a flare up there.
Fog is coming.
Fog is coming. Fog is coming.
He jumps up there. Under fire. Whoa!
Under fire. I wonder if we got that.
His lifeless corpse comes rolling back down.
Fog is coming.
Found him.
We need some more voice lines as well. I could definitely do for that in Realm.
I love the assassin voice, man. He just sounds like a,
Fog is coming.
like a corny con man
does.
from a city fair or something.
Exactly.
But he doesn't look like it at all
Yeah,
necessarily. He looks pretty badass.
He looks super cool, right? Which is why it's so funny. He's like, his voice is so
Under
dorky.
fire, whoa.
Under fire, whoa. Under fire, whoa.
I love it.
I wonder if we get a little, I mean, this is really where we need to collab with DJ Khaled here because there's a lot of great voice lines. Diggy Dog even had to go, oh, after he saw that beautiful, beautiful play. I always think our producers are Alabama fans because they say rise up every single
Falcons.
time.
Roll,
No, they want to
roll
see it
Tide.
out. And roll Tide. I'm about to
Hell yeah, brother.
I'm about to hear Roll Tide, a beautiful enlightenment as well. Cybate finds Bird, and Koa just melts into the darkness. He knows the fog is coming, and this is not the good fog. This is the mist fog.
It's that late game fog.
It's that Stephen King fog.
Yeah.
Mist.
You got all kinds of goobly goblins in there. 2 seconds on the clock. Bees, he won't survive another arrow, but it's okay because Peridot won't launch anymore.
Oof.
Nice shots from Bonker. He's playing on another level today. Double kill for him. He's looking for the triple kill.
Oh.
He's going to find it. He's looking for the quadra kill. He's not going to find it. Sheepa steals that away, puts a lid on the young man.
Yeah, he really wanted that quadra kill too. He tried to line the presence up, just couldn't do it. It shows you, I mean, even with a player so good, that streak, playing Leon, not easy to hit a presence. I mean, most people miss those shots very consistently, but Bonker, what an incredible performance from him. You hearken his Worlds performance. This has a little less on the line.
World's one Bonker would have hit that. He would have hit that presence.
Still very valuable stuff. NIP cleaned this one up 3-0. It seems like Diggy Dog has been pretty decent inclusion for them. Let's send it back to the desk, break down set 1 as we get ready for our second set of the day.
Game 1 and Game 3, pretty clean. And I do agree with the casters that it is nice to see Bonker get to show out on something after so long of being that role player.
And I like the way they did it. Sheepa takes that kill at the end just to make sure that Bonker knows only triple kills. All right, you gotta again keep a lid on it, as Nick said. Just make sure you know you can do well, you can have your shining moments, but you can't shine too bright. Not yet. We got to hold on to that for if we can make land. I mean, at this rate, they are doing incredibly well, and like you said, clean number 1, murky number 2, clean number 3.
I love the fact that Leon was in every single game for NIP, but it was on a different player for every single game as well, between Diggy Dog, Purdue, and then Bonker here, and they all performed well on it. It was fun. We were just highlighting Purdue on this after game number 2, and then now Bonker comes through with it. And it's good to have that player. We talk about it with Bugsy for Fnatic and having somebody that can just play, hey, we need you, in the case of Bonker, flex on the Genos for a bit, flex here, and then now let's let you show out in this Leon.
If I say a champion, you should play it. Like, that's the kind of role that you want for a lot of those players. So being able to come in and have that flexibility opens up a lot for your team, and it can make it look a lot like that Serpent Beach game one, where it's just you're in control. You never really feel like you lose control. Maybe you lose a little bit of pressure, but it's never going to hold you back.
Well, that was just our first showing of NIP today. We do have the double header with them facing off against Virtus Pro next, so keep it locked.